You're listening to Cattywampus.
One.
2. 3.
4.
We can count.
I don't know, man.
And you can count on me waiting for you in the parking lot.
I believe that's Mr. Gilmore's.
It's the only good movie.
I didn't hate Billy Madison.
Hey,
Nobody
hey,
hates
hey.
it, but it's
Uncut
not a good
Gems.
movie. Billy Madison's not. Does that count as an Adam Sandler
Yes.
movie, or is that just a movie with Adam Sandler?
I guess.
It's like saying your favorite Clint Eastwood movie is The Bridges of Manistee County.
I don't know what that is.
Oh god. I
Exactly.
opened too many streams and now my PC's lagging. Oh god.
As long as it can record, you should be fine.
Just don't cross the streams.
Yeah.
You get one Ghostbusters reference a year.
Just one. That's all I need. Mass Effect. Yes, let's talk about Mass Effect.
Mass Effect.
And the apparent giant letdown that this series was. I guess the real descent into being a letdown started with the ending of Mass Effect 3. But we'll come to that.
And ending I've never seen, by the way.
Oh, there's several endings. And this is the big selling point of the series when they launched it. The decisions you make in each game, and there are a lot of points where you'll have decisions to make, were supposed to have a significant impact on the way the game ended. So
Well, this feels like the first game that really tried to market that as a thing, right? Like,
and the second game did continue with that, and they had a few moments, especially early on. I think like in the first level or two.
I wouldn't say it's the
Where that
first
was up in
game,
the
but it was
days.
definitely one of the.
but like in terms of marketing,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like it was the first game to really be like the choices you make will define you. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure if they were thinking of like the Paragon Renegade system, which is like, light side, dark side, and KOTOR, or being a good guy or bad guy. That didn't have as much of an impact as I had hoped it would.
I mean, BioWare games have never. I mean, all of their, like, oh, you're gonna make moral choices, and these moral choices are gonna have a huge impact on the story. They never really do. Other than
Right.
maybe certain people end up dead, and that's about it.
I will say, like, when I played the first Mass Effect, the way my crew treated me and the way they fought about me did really matter to me.
I
like
love
where I was.
the first game.
Yeah, like I was really obsessed with like, there's got to be a way to make the right decision to help these people
It
and
also
keep them.
it also helped a lot that I read the prequel to Mass Effect. It was a novel they put out like right before the game launched, and I was like so enthralled by the book that when the first game came out, I was hooked. And I played through the first game probably 3 different times to just see all the different options and see what all you could do.
Mm-hmm.
And
I did too.
yeah, and it was fantastic. Now everyone seems to think or seems to believe that Mass Effect 2 is the best. I disagree.
I disagree too.
I like 2,
Yeah.
but I think two probably has a better.
2 improves on gameplay systems
yeah.
significantly.
Yeah.
2 has like a better combat system and a better management system, but I think the story of 1 is still like awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's also really telling that they basically kept the talent and combat systems from 2 in Mass Effect 3, and they kind of went back to Mass Effect 1 with a couple of the talents. At least as far as I can remember, 2 had a very simple system. Not a lot of weapon variety, whereas in 1 you could find like 50 varieties of the same rifle.
Wasn't
with just
1 the only
example.
one that had like a true inventory system too?
Well,
It
yeah,
did,
because
and it
you
was annoying.
you had a fuck ton of pickups. But if you played the game right, you could have a pistol with a heat sink that you could fire forever.
Yeah.
And it never overheats.
Yeah. I fucking loved that though. I don't know. I really liked. I know the inventory management sucked, but like.
Yeah, I love breaking the game.
Yeah.
Nah, that's why I
Yeah,
liked.
Steve.
That's why
Play
I
the game
liked 2
your
and
way.
3.
It's like
'cause
Burger King.
Yeah. Did you say it's like Burger King?
Yeah, you have it your way. Just tastes better.
Oh, I thought you were going to compare it to Sneak King.
But
the best Burger King game.
I kind of like games that you can break.
Wait, there was a Burger King.
There was like 3 or
game?
4 Burger King games. They
There were 3 or 4.
Yeah, there were
there were so many that you could no longer.
they were
remember.
they were Xbox exclusives that you got with Happy
Xbox.
Meals.
That's way too recent.
It was
Burger
Yeah, it
King
was
Kids Club
Xbox
meals.
360.
Yeah.
Like you
That's
could buy.
no. This is Super Nintendo or earlier. There's no
Nope.
way.
I had
Oh,
all
no.
of them, and Steve watched me play Sneak King for a little while.
This is the odds. This is post 9/11.
Yep.
After 9/11, Burger King said we need to get into the video game market.
Yep.
And
What the
surprisingly,
fuck?
Sneak King was actually pretty well received.
Yeah,
Well
not a
received.
terrible game for a free Burger King game. Or was it $5 or was it
What,
free?
they were free.
It was cheap. All I remember is this was back when you were obsessed with getting fucking Chivas.
Yeah, and then I lost
This
my
is the-
Xbox account, so all those achievement points are fucking gone.
Good. That's what
Lost
you
it.
get
How do
for
you lose your Xbox account?
forget the password and then lock it.
So I believe it was tied to an email address to a website that no longer exists. So I can't get into that email, so I can't get that account. Yeah, pretty cool.
Okay.
But so
So, Matt-
if you purchased a value meal at Burger King, you could get any of the games
Uh-huh.
for $3.99.
Yeah, it's like you could get like the Ninja Turtle
Yeah.
tapes. I remember.
And it was in 2006.
That's too recent.
Yep. It was pretty cool. But anyway, Mass Effect.
Yeah. So what fast food chain did you have to go to play Mass Effect?
Pizza Hut, probably.
Carl's Jr.
Mass
Carl's-
Effect takes place in the sorta not so distant future. It's like 150 years from now, something like that. We find out that there's basically a jump gate out by Pluto, or really far out there. And using a artifact that we recover, a la 2001, we are able to use it and join a galactic federation. So go humanity.
Didn't we find the first mass relay on Mars or something?
That was the artifact. That's what
Okay.
told us how to use it and how to create dark energy fields, which you need in order to use the relays.
Yeah.
These relays were set up by persons or entities unknown throughout the galaxy to enable FTL travel. So you can jump from one point around the galaxy to another. Pretty cool stuff. So yeah, we joined this Galactic Federation. This isn't like Star Trek at all. On the Citadel, which is sort
Certainly
of,
not legally.
These
the
are legally
Citadel, which is
distinct.
basically a United Nations building in space, right? There's a whole bunch of different species there. The first game jumps into, I don't remember when they bring it up, but there's a few calls to a coming apocalypse or a coming of the Reapers, which nobody really wants to admit or talk about. One of your early adversaries is
Seraph.
communing with them. Seraph, was that his
Yeah.
name? I thought it was like Serum.
Nah, Seraph.
Oh, Google.
I'm
Help us
looking at
out.
it right now.
All right, hold on. I'm pulling up the
Help
character
me,
list.
Google.
Hold on.
Spectre,
Be
Saren Arterius.
Told you, Saren.
Okay. I thought it was
Like the gas.
I could have sworn it was
Yeah,
Seraph.
Let's pull up these
exactly.
character names. Oh yeah. Oh. So yeah, you play as Commander Shepard. You discover a plot from what are they called? Are they called Spectres?
Yep.
They're called Spectres. From another Spectre to try to bring back the Reapers. And so the entirety of the first game is really kind of about you building a team, your A team. You go around the galaxy picking up people who have not telepathic powers and such, engineers, that whole nine, and you try to stop him. And of course, you will sort of succeed. There are decisions that you have to make throughout the game, like whether or not to allow certain alien species to live, like this one bug race that you find that just reproduces rapidly. That is a decision that will come back later, so if you kill it or spare it. You will have to give up one of your crew, one of the 2 humans on your crew, in a effort to try to stop Saren in the final act of the game.
The
And I'm
only
trying to
correct
remember-
answer is Aiden. You give him up.
Yeah,
It's
fuck
true.
Caden. Fuck Caden.
Yep.
Ashley Williams will survive every time.
Yep.
It's true.
And you could pick up, I think there are 2 optional ones. Looking up their names now. So there's Tally. Is she one of the optional ones?
I don't think she was
Optional or
optional.
DLC?
No,
Yeah,
I think it was
I don't think she's
Rex and
optional.
Liara then. You can complete the game with only 3 people I think the reason for that is 2 of them are guaranteed to be the humans, and one of those 2 has to be sacrificed. So you can end the game with basically a minimum of 2 crew. And I did try to do this. I played this game a number of times trying to see how much I could break it. And
Wow. So like me, David over here is trying to keep everyone alive. Meanwhile, Corey's like, how many people?
How few people can I get away with in completing my mission?
How many may I slaughter?
Yeah, and the answer is surprisingly few. Yeah.
You psychopath.
Hey, so to my defense, okay, the first time I played this game, Paragon,
You're such a
completed
Donald Sutherland.
I completed all the side quests, all of them, all the tedious side quests, all the bomb defusals on obscure moons, all the annoying lunar rover missions. And I say annoying because, goddamn, that rover liked to flip over and really had a hard time.
Yeah, that's awful.
That's like the Batmobile in Arkham Knight. That thing sucks.
I got used to it.
This rover was apparently filled with aerogel because it bounced off everything and had no weight, and I found it difficult to control. I grew fond of it on my 3rd and 4th replays. I was okay with it, but my god, as a first-time player, I was so annoyed at this thing. But I completed everything. I did Paragon, everything. Choosing the good guy actions. I thought the game was really fun. I played it several times, and my most recent playthrough, I guess, was probably 10 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that, where I tried to just play the game with as few characters as possible. So I did nothing optional, only did the main story to my best of my ability.
You're right.
And
I played it as an isolationist loner. You don't like people. You torture small animals.
Yes, to a degree. And those choices actually do come through later. So Mass Effect 2 and
the only
Mass
good
Effect
bug
3,
is a dead bug.
you import your save games from your previous.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing on Xbox, which actually I think I played it the first time on Xbox. I played it on PC later. It'll find your save
The first time
game.
I played it was on Xbox.
I think it was launched originally on Xbox only, and then it came to PC later.
I did play it on PC as well, and I will say I think I like the Xbox controls a little more for this. So yeah, first game kind of felt a little more open. Second game kind of jumps you into like an action movie, and you start off. And by the way, we could say spoilers, but this series has been out for a decade, so let's be real here.
Also, there's multiple endings and multiple choices, so it's like spoilers for a choose your own adventure book.
Spoilers for
Yes and no,
somebody.
David, and this is one of the reasons people got so mad about this game.
Those people don't understand storytelling.
So yeah, Mass Effect 2 starts off and you die. Your ship is destroyed. You can't help it. It's like the opening cutscene. You're trying to basically put out fires, but you're gonna die, and you're rebuilt by this billionaire of this corporation of I don't fucking remember the name of the corporation.
It was Martin Sheen.
It was Martin
wasn't
Sheen, yeah.
Martin Sheen rebuilds
President
you.
Bartlett.
Yeah, President
Martin
Bartlett rebuilds you.
Martin Sheen has the technology and he will rebuild you. So now you're partially cybernetic. And a cool twist of this is because you've been killed and brought back to life cybernetically, if you go renegade, actually your scar tissue from your death will start to flare up and turn like glowing orange. Kind of looks like you're coming apart at the seams. I thought that was a cool touch. If you go Paragon, your scars will actually kind of slowly heal.
I wouldn't know. I tried to do the right thing.
So you probably never saw your face coming apart with orange energy.
No, I was a good person, Corey.
Well, let me tell you, it looks pretty cool.
Wow, sounds radical.
It reminded me of like, I don't know, Terminator.
Oh, so Brian, you also were an evil man.
No, I just saw it. I did evil on like a half of a playthrough for fun.
Oh, so you stood by and did nothing.
Mass Effect 2 doesn't really talk about the Reapers a lot. And the first one, the first game ends with you fighting a Reaper off, or a single Reaper. It's this dreadnought ship. It destroys a whole bunch of the fleet. You can make decisions in the very last part of the game, like if you'll try to save the Council, the Galactic Council, the UN Council, basically, or you just try to save humanity. And that was actually a choice that does, I think it kind of heavily impacts how you start the third game off, which we'll come back to later. Because if you let the Council die, newsflash, not having unity in a time of intergalactic crisis is a problem. And you're basically... Okay, so you either save a human ship, or you save the ship that has the Council on it. That's the choice you have to make. So if you save humanity's ship, their ship with their representatives, then when the next game starts, humanity is trying to put itself in a position of power over the Intergalactic Council, because they have the numbers. They have the elected officials, and frankly, the military strength at this point, because their ships were basically saved while the Reaper was destroying everything. I mean, this single ship destroys so many ships.
Is the premise of this game
Council.
that the Reapers are just right?
No.
I mean, they're
It got real
robots.
quiet, so maybe.
Yeah, I was like, I've really hit on something here.
Yeah, I think you might have a point here. And there's
You're right. We should reboot.
yeah.
Sorry. Reimagine.
We should reimagine this whole trilogy to be a little less genocide-y, right? Yeah, Mass Effect 2, that's not really your threat. Instead, a servant race of the Reapers is the threat, the Collectors. They just harvest entire planets at once. God knows what's happening to them. Oh, they're being absorbed into some kind of hive collective. You have to try to save everybody that's on this collector ship. And the final mission in Mass Effect 2, I think, is really cool because every time you go through a combat area, you have to make decisions where you're trying to extract survivors from this ship. And those decisions will either result in you not being able to get out with everybody, although if you're very good, you can actually have it both ways.
You can.
Or you're going to have to give up crewmen to try to make the objective, come out. And you can actually fail this mission and fail the game, and that's game over.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that, I don't think you can actually use that save game in Mass Effect 3 because technically you lost. You lost the second game.
No, you can because you start as a new character in 3.
Okay. I never failed this mission because I was always so determined.
So you can die. Well, you don't fail. You die, but you win.
You can lose a lot of characters too.
You can do the job. So Mass Effect 2 is kind of the more controversial like point of decision tree where you can win, but Shepard will die. And then Mass Effect 3 would then start with Shepard dead, and you are a new character on the Earth defense side.
I never knew that because wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
So that's another cool element, right?
But you do win, like you do complete your mission in Mass Effect 2. It's just Shepard doesn't make it out.
And Mass Effect 2, a lot of the game is actually spent going around gathering other characters to try to help with this big siege on this collector ship that's using this forbidden relay. So you have to build a key that will let you into the relay. I think you do that by...
The big one's Tally, right? Where like if you fucked Tally over in the first game, she won't help you in the second one.
Yes. And there's actually a story for her in the third game too that you can wrap up if you've been playing nice with her. Or you can fuck her over in that game too.
Tally. Oh, I was playing nice with the weird leather-bound woman with the gas mask. Don't worry, I was playing nice.
I have no doubts.
Don't worry, she lived in every version of my story.
In addition to getting these crewmen, you also have to get all these people that are going to help you out. These rather crazy people. Also, depending kind of who you picked, depending on what you did the first game, your second game, you're going to have certain people you can or can't go for. You get them on your ship, and then you have to try to get to know them better.
Seth Green to live?
He's my favorite character in the series.
The pilot.
Yep.
It's a little tedious because you have all these people that you recruit, and then you have to do
comment.
These side missions to get them to like you more, and that impacts how well they'll fight in the final fight. Right? If you don't do anybody's side missions, a lot of people are going to die.
Yeah.
Any characters you care about will probably end up sacrificing themselves trying to get people out of this ship, or fending off the attackers from your ship, etc., etc. So Mass Effect 2, I don't know, it got a little tedious for me. I was like, okay, I got everybody on the ship. I don't need everyone. I've got the relay unlocked. I'm going to go ahead and just keep doing this so I have the highest chance of winning. And my God, it got tedious. And some of the stories are good, and some of them aren't. And that's just what happens when you have a cast of 12 people. Or was it
No, I agree. I do think that one of the reasons that 2 is often considered better than 1 is that 2 kind of seems to be the apex of their premise, which is the choices you make matter, but it won't hurt you from the game. You can literally beat the game making all the wrong choices, but it actually affects you on a story level. So and I think that's part of the tedium, which is, look, if you want everybody to like you and you want everybody to live, you're going to have to do a lot of bullshit, which, by the way, is kind of true of real life. You have to do all this stuff to keep it. Nobody's actually destined to die in Mass Effect 2. You can save everyone, but it requires so much work to do and making the right choice every time. Whereas you could also just breeze through the game and be like, anyway, we're all good. Everyone's dead, but I did it. Those are kind of the two options. But I think that's why people like 2 so much over 1.
Well, 2 also had a much darker theme. If you've romanced a character in the first game, and when you meet them in the second, the survivor of the 2, right? Caden or Ashley, I think.
Yeah.
You actually have a small arc with them, and they do not like that you're working for Cerberus. That's their name. They don't like that you're working with Cerberus, who rebuilt you, and you're just kind of doing it because.
So does Martin Sheen have 2 extra heads? What the fuck?
No, it's just the name of the corporation.
Does the corporation have 2
corporation rebuilt? Yeah, I mean, Spectres are like a galactic police force. They're special forces.
They're
Green
spec
Lanterns.
ops, basically.
They're allowed to be judge, jury, and executioner in delicate matters.
They're judges like Judge Dredd.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, basically, you're allowed to make very big decisions that, under normal circumstances, you want to go and talk to your boss, maybe have a big galactic debate. But Spectres are allowed to say, actually, this is a matter of galactic urgency. I'm going to just shoot this guy and prevent a galactic crisis. They're allowed to do that, which is why it's so unique that a human, you, Shepard, are part of that force. But in the second game, you're not that. You're basically a mercenary. Not really by choice. I mean, you owe Cerberus for bringing you back to life, and that's a string they pull on a lot. So, second game was also a lot darker in theme and visually. If I remember, the levels are a lot darker as well. The game feels darker. It's more edgy.
Isn't 3 the darkest, technically?
Thematically, yes,
No.
but not in terms of level design. So when I did my last replay, I played all 3 games back to back, and the second one definitely has the worst lighting. Also, compared to the first one, which is sort of a mystery Star Trek game, the second one's more of a, oh no, bad things are happening, and we have to try to stop it. You know, planets are being abducted, people are getting killed. This isn't just a light-hearted adventure discovery. Ooh, what's up all these really weird races? Ooh, what's this weird little site? It's like, oh no, the entire planet's gone missing. Everybody on it's dead or gone. Oh no, we have to stop this. Which brings us, I guess, to the third game, which I've replayed the least.
Yeah, I think I've played it 1.5 times, maybe.
I played the
played it twice.
I played the multiplayer more than I played the campaign.
So yeah, the third game, you're on a galactic map again. You're racing against time, so there actually are missions that'll pop up that if you don't get to them within a certain amount of time, and that time is measured by you loading a level. So if you load a level, an interval passes. Some missions that if you don't get to them quick enough, the Reapers will win. You have to try to secure assets. You're trying to build this. It's like a super weapon or something, right?
Yeah, the third game is basically Battleship in space.
Right, and the more side quests you do, the better chance you have. The better your war ranking gets, or I don't remember what they called it. And then it comes down to the end of the game.
I like war rank. I think war rank is good. We'll go war rank.
We'll go war rank. So it gets to the end of the game. It's time to fire off the super weapon. And you get on the super weapon. It turns out the Citadel was alive. It was built by the Reapers. The mass relays are built by the Reapers. This is all part of a 50,000 year cycle of culling civilization and harvesting biomass to integrate into more Reapers. So the more often... Every time the cycle happens, the Reapers get stronger.
We're all Cylons?
And every time... Yeah, right?
And also, if you watch Picard, you'll see a lot of Mass Effect in it.
Yeah. So it comes down to basically only having a few choices. And I think at launch there were 3 choices. So you could either destroy the Reapers, you could try to control them, which I think required you have a better war ranking. Or you can synthesize and turn all sentient life into nanite hybrids. It's not really clear. It's made out to be the best option, I think, because it's the green colored option, whereas destroy is the red option, control is the blue option. And people didn't like this endings because we have all these choices, all these different narratives that are changing, and it always comes down to this: you only have 3 choices. It isn't that sort of the point, I say. That it doesn't matter because this is a cycle. You never had free will to begin with. So there you go. It's a video game. That's my take on it. A lot of people didn't like that there were only 3 choices and they were literally just different colors of different cinematics.
Well, what do they want?
Right. I mean, completely different endings. I guess preventing the Reapers from coming in the first place.
Like at that point in the story, what are the other options they would have liked? I guess would be
the
my question.
third game opens with Reapers landing on Earth and destroying things and abducting people. Like, this is how the game starts. Like, it's not just on Earth. Like, all the major civilizations have this problem.
I think they want
they
something
added
that
in a
you
patch.
can't that you can't get in a game like this. At least not yet. Like Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human have how many endings? Like some ridiculous number. And I feel like in a game like this, that they couldn't do that.
Yeah, but here's the thing about both of those games is that most people don't laud those games as storytelling masterpieces.
Yeah.
The more choices you made that were
The less your story mattered going in. Like storytelling.
The story was always about Reapers. Like, it was always about culling. You can't stop that.
But also the way like storytelling works is that if you've told your story right, the ending is the only thing that could have happened. So if 18 things could have happened, your story was meaningless.
They added a fourth option because of the player outrage called refusal, where you literally walk away after you get to the end of the game. You just say, no, we're not using this weapon. We're just going to fight them until we're all gone. And that's somehow a Band-Aid for people being mad about choices. And there's a fourth choice, and you don't use this super weapon or whatever that's been worked on by every civilization, every 50,000 years up until the end. And it's just been iteratively improved by every civilization for God knows how many millions of years. No one's been able to really fire it, or if they did, they chose the wrong things. And yeah, there's an interesting theory about Mass Effect 3, which I think adds to the game. And this is tangible. You can play Mass Effect 3 right now, not that any of you will, and you'll hear audible hallucinations, and you'll see things that aren't really there. Like the first level, there's this like kid that keeps running around, and it's not really there. You'll have these weird dream sequences between missions that aren't really dreams. It's kind of like you're going crazy. And I think a lot of people forget about this stuff because when I did my replay, my big triple replay, I went back and I was reading the codex entries, and indoctrination is where Reapers are able to psychologically control you and manipulate you. And they do that with these low hums and whispers, and eventually you start seeing things that aren't there, and before you know it, you're doing what they wanted you to do. In Mass Effect 3, it's made pretty clear you're being indoctrinated because you're being close to Reapers all this time. You start having hallucinations. You hear these whispers and hums. Clearly, Shepard is becoming mind-controlled and is fighting it off in their dreams. And by the end of the game, there's a big explosion as you're rushing to get up to this super weapon. And after this big explosion, I think that's when you become indoctrinated officially, because you somehow manage to get to this beam after defeating the infamous enemy Marauder Shields. You open this beam, you go into the Citadel. Every living thing on there is just a biomass. It's all these people and aliens are melted together, and it comes down to this big decision of firing the weapon or trying to control the Reapers or synthesize it. None of it matters because you're probably indoctrinated, so you're just doing what they wanted you to do anyway. Shepard dies on Earth is the real ending, I think. And that's why I say none of these choices actually matter, because if you actually read the codex entries, if you actually pay attention during the third game, it's clear you're not in charge of your own mind. You're not really making decisions. The Reapers are controlling you.
So it's a Matrix Reloaded situation.
And it's a little bit more like that, I think. And I think that also kind of flew over the heads of a lot of people because they got so mad about these three choices. But be an intellectual. Hey, we never had one. Like that's what they kind of spelled out with this writing.
I think the other big issue is that the guy that wrote basically the entire series left for the third game. The guy Drew Karpyshyn, he wrote the prequel novel. He wrote 1, he wrote 2, and then he left for 3.
That's probably didn't help. But I guess how do you, if you're writing these on a story by story basis, I'm sure he had a storyboard explaining how this was going to work, right?
Yeah.
And this wasn't just one guy writing. I'm sure there was a writing team because there's a lot of story in these games.
Yeah, he was.
Any one
he
of
was
these
just the lead. He was the lead writer.
Right.
I'm sorry. Lead writer was Mac Walters. Co-writer was Drew Karpyshyn. He left to do the Old Republic, which is.
Oh yeah, that amazing thing.
Uh-huh.
And then he also did Anthem.
Yeah. I thought he left Anthem.
He's credited with Anthem.
Anthem was in development hell though, right?
So he did enough to be credited.
Every other thing that he has worked on has been amazing, but yeah, not his recent. I'd say his best work is the Darth Bane series.
Or the books.
Yeah.
But Brian, those aren't canon.
Well, that's Mass Effect in a nutshell. So has everybody here played it?
Yep.
I played all 3. I only played 3 though after all the updates, so I don't know what the original version was like.
I think the major update they added was just including the not making a choice.
Well, and the epilogue.
Huh?
Yeah. So in my version,
There's an epilogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my version, I was able to save my crew. They crash landed on a planet, and then you cut to, I don't know, like 1,000 years later, and they tell the tale of the shepherd or whatever. You know what I'm talking about, everybody?
No, actually,
Was it really that far into the future?
I don't know. I was guessing, but it's in the distant future is how
that's
it played.
actually in. I think that's in the original cut.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I did my playthrough 3, and then I said, hold on, I'm going to replay the game from the beginning. And I played all 3 over the course of a few weeks. And it takes a while, even if you're Russian. It takes a while. These games they have a lot of game.
They're very
the Tale of
dense.
Shepherd or whatever with the star. There's some people sitting looking at like the stars at night, and they're talking about these old folklore tales. That's in the original cut. What else did they add? I didn't play it post patches, so
I don't know.
I think a lot of it wasn't, from what I understand, from what I've read, the cutscenes were not very clear. They were just kind of rushed at the end of the game. And this is a big thing in video games, from what I understand, and you all could speak to this, which is nobody spends as much time on the end as they do the beginning, because only 40% of people who play video games get to the end,
Yeah.
like consumers.
All that really
So,
matters is selling the game.
Yeah, they don't, the ending of video games is not a priority because most people never get there.
I didn't realize how few people actually finished games until I started looking at the achievement percentages.
Yeah.
oh my god, yeah, Steam shows those, and I've got some achievements. I've been like, okay, cool. About time I got that. 1% of players have this. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
How?
So when
This
people
is so simple.
So I believe a big part of Mass Effect 3 was not so much that people didn't like the ending, but that the ending didn't make any fucking sense, apparently, as well.
It really doesn't help here is no matter which of those 3 original choices you make, there's a cutscene where the Normandy or whatever is flying through.
Yeah, they were unclear. You didn't know what happened, basically.
You're flying through space, and either a red-colored energy ribbon, a green-colored energy ribbon, a blue-colored energy ribbon is chasing you, and that's what knocks your ship and makes it crash on the same planet no matter what. The only thing that was visually distinctive, I think, was the third ending, the synthesize, where you blend with technology. That ending has a little bit more discussion about becoming part machines, and all sentient life as we know it is now somehow hybridized. And so now there's no longer conflict between Reapers, the epitome of technology, and organic life, which is prone to self-destruction. Now there's a hybridization, and all races are actually the same now because of this hybridization. Everybody, okay, let's be blunt. Everybody's now the Borg. The Borg win.
Yeah.
And Steve, you're the only one that I think that played Andromeda to completion.
Yeah, you don't need to know about Andromeda.
You sure?
Pretty
give us the
positive.
skinny. Give us the skinny. Just the very simple
Sorry,
overview.
phrase. You played it to completion.
Uh-huh.
It's so you fucked Mass Andromeda.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you finished, right?
So,
You got
Steve,
yours.
when you played Mass Effect Andromeda, how many times did you come?
Can you negative ejaculate?
Ejaculate.
I mean, whatever you're into.
Yeah,
bro.
can you injaculate?
Exactly.
It's theoretically possible, but
I can't
okay. So how much did you hate this
myself.
game? No. Just give us the skinny, man. What's it about? When does it take place after the third game, right? After the third Mass Effect.
Yes and no. So
What do you mean yes and no?
technically,
fuck?
it starts before the events. So
Oh fuck. Okay.
so
Okay.
it's called, basically you are part of something called the Andromeda Initiative. So we know the Reapers are coming. We know they're coming to call the galaxy, and a bunch of wealthy benefactors get together and say, fuck this, we're going to send a bunch of ships to Andromeda, out of the galaxy, out of the Reapers' reach. We're going to go there, we're going to colonize, humanity and these other races are going to keep living.
That way, 3 never actually
So-
happened for this team.
Yep, exactly. So you and your crew get sent into space in cryogenic stasis and wake up 500 years in the future.
I think it's 1,000.
Yeah, it's 500 or 1,000. So you're in Andromeda, completely removed from the events of Mass Effect 3. You have no idea what happened, if humanity survived, if the Reapers won, doesn't fucking matter. So you and your crew get there, and your first goal is to figure out what's habitable where you can live. You are the Pathfinder. So you become the Pathfinder. Your entire mission is to find habitable planets and seed life. And it turns into this whole story that basically is just the story of the fucking collectors all over again.
Oh, so it's Mass Effect 2.2?
Basically. So you run into another race that already, or a few races already live out there. One of them's evil and wants to assimilate, or something along those lines. And you have to stop them, while at the same time finding habitable planets and setting up new bases. I mean, it's beat for beat almost Mass Effect 2, except with the ending was much more boring, and the characters weren't as likable. They weren't as fun.
It was also glitchy as shit.
Yep, it was very, very broken at the beginning.
How? At this point, they've made 3 Mass Effect games.
It was a different team.
How did it break?
It was different. It was like a sub studio. Right?
It was a different team, and it was a new engine. They were running on Frostbite because EA said everything has to run on Frostbite now, except for the fact that Frostbite is absolute dog shit for literally anything but shooters.
Is there any good game that runs on Frostbite?
Yeah.
Battlefield, that's it.
No, there's apparently there's sports games on Frostbite run pretty well, don't they?
They do now, after years of trial and error. But this was one of the first games that they were trying to branch Frostbite out into being, their in-house engine that they use for everything.
No, so
but the problem is it wasn't built for
all
it.
the FIFA and Madden games have been on it, and they're all fine.
Are they good games?
I mean, people love them. I don't know.
That's not what
People
I asked.
People
love
love Call of
Transformers
Duty.
movies.
Yeah.
People love Transformers movies. People love lots of garbage.
But so I've only played the Battlefield series. I played Dragon Age Inquisition, which is apparently on it, and I played Battlefront, and those were all fine.
Okay.
But no, like whatever they did to Andromeda, they messed up a lot in terms of glitching and.
Well, the other problem was that their original plan was that since you're trying to find new planets, it was going to be procedurally generated. And the planets where you were going to go was going to be procedurally generated, and new planets were going to be, and it was going to be all roguelike kind of how you ended up doing
This planet
stuff.
will be different.
Yeah.
So, kind of like how, I think at the time, No Man's Sky, that game's doing great. It wasn't. Let's do that.
Well, that was the plan, was just procedural generation, but they couldn't get it to work worth a shit. So they had to go back to the drawing board like 3 fucking times on this game.
Turns out procedurally generating shit is hard.
Yeah. So by the time this game got finally made, it was put together and finished in like a year.
Oh.
Same problem that Anthem had, where they basically didn't decide what they were doing until the 11th fucking hour and built everything in an afternoon.
What was it? They didn't decide what they were doing until they all saw the fucking cinematic at E3 or whatever. And they were like, oh, that's the game we're making.
Sort of.
Oh, that's an Anthem.
Yeah, basically. Because Anthem, like, it didn't even have flying in the game until one afternoon. They were just like, let's just add this real quick because we need something to show one of the higher-ups. And the higher-up basically played it and went, flying, that felt great. That was fun. The rest of it's dog shit. Build something around that. And they had to go back to the drawing board again.
I'm assuming Anthem is still completely trash, right?
I mean,
it's still a garbage fire. They're trying to Realm Reborn it right now.
Good luck.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm saying.
I feel like that's a story you only see once in a lifetime.
I mean, everyone. I don't think so. I think everyone's gonna try that because
if the game's bad enough at release, yeah, they'll probably try it. But
well, also like the same reason you're getting all the remakes. It's easier to fix something than to make something new.
I guess we'll see.
And also,
No.
if all of them have that mentality, like, yes, we'd all prefer something new, but who's going to do that? Who's going to risk that?
I mean, Anthem and Andromeda are both games that they have some good ideas in them. And overall, their biggest problem has nothing to do with, like, core gameplay mechanics. It has to do with the wrapper that all of that's served in. Like, Mass Effect suffered from the story's dog shit, the characters are dog shit, and everyone looks like ass. Like, the entire engine just looks like ass. That was the biggest problem. Anthem had the problem of the game.
Everyone is hideous.
I mean, that was a huge problem with
I
Andromeda.
don't care to look at you.
That was a huge problem with Andromeda.
That's amazing.
There are videos on YouTube that just demonstrate how bad the modeling and animations were.
Yeah.
Some of the voice acting too, apparently, just not very well delivered lines. That's putting it. I think the best way I could put it would be not well delivered. Yeah. I saw some gameplay. I think it might have been on Twitch or maybe it was YouTube, and I just went, oh, I loved Mass Effect as a trilogy. I even liked the third one's ending, even though a lot of people didn't. I saw that and I said, no, fuck that.
Mass Effect could be continued as a story, but
yeah, what's the
go
future
backwards.
of Mass Effect?
Tell me
Remake Mass
stories that
Effect
happened
1.
before Mass Effect 1.
I agree. Prequels are the only way to go with it because the third one's ending.
Prequels never work. They never work.
I mean, there's literally nowhere else to go with Mass Effect, though. That's the problem.
I don't know. Jump on.
But then you still have to
future.
say that somebody's ending in Mass Effect 1 or Mass Effect 3 was canon. You have to make one of those endings. Yeah, I know.
That's called storytelling.
That's why you don't give people the agency of choice when it comes to the ending.
Actually, it'd be pretty simple.
That's fair.
You just import the Mass Effect 3 save game.
If anybody still has
Like,
that, by the
yeah,
time
like
this comes
anybody
out.
still got that
just
laying
Just
around.
boot up your PS3.
No. They'll do it like Mass Effect 2 and 3 did with the new character generation, and that you just choose your backstory from like a drop-down menu. Like, hey,
I
how
had
did Mass
to do
Effect 3 end? Was it one of these three? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I had to do it because I didn't have my saves for 2.
Well, I would say just jump a million years into the future where it literally doesn't matter what happened, and
Or just
start
reboot
fresh
the
there.
entire franchise at that point.
No, don't start over. See, like,
But there's
move
no point to
forward.
move forward in Mass Effect. That's the problem. There's
Why not? Why not jump a million years into the future?
then humanity's probably gone by that point. All
Cool.
right.
So let us play as the aliens.
Yeah, robots and aliens. Oh God, we've never played as robots or aliens. We can't understand
EA
this
would
concept.
never do it.
I mean, I feel like it doesn't happen that
Exactly.
often. Though. Like, what's the last game where we got to play as something other than a fucking human? Even Animal Crossing.
Earth
Like- Why is everybody in Animal Crossing an animal except for the player?
except you. Yeah, no, it's weird. I mean, Star Fox.
What's a game where I don't have to be a human?
I feel like
World
there's
of
a million that I
Warcraft?
can't think of right now. I mean, obviously, yeah, World of Warcraft, Star Fox.
Project Cars. I can just be a car.
That's true. Yeah, Transformers Devastation. God of War. You're a god.
Still a human.
No, you're a god.
But you look like a human.
god
That's
human.
the point.
Yeah, but in Mass Effect they all look like humans still. Like, oh, he's blue, but she's gray. Very different.
Some of the aliens are kind of weird looking, man. They had like
All
those
the
weird
characters-
jellyfish looking things.
That that couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in God of War you shoot fire from your blade.
Rex
Like, you're not
looks
human.
like a fucking walking lizard.
Games where you don't play as a human.
When was the last time you played a game where you were a human who actually had human frailties? Like one shot, one kill.
Tomb Raider.
CS:GO.
Counter-Strike Go.
Yeah, CS:GO.
Actually, the Tomb Raider games, you do get fucked up, and it
Yeah,
does
that's
affect
true.
you, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind a Mass Effect game where you just, I don't know, play as a different race that wasn't a part of the original
Yeah.
Reaper problem.
Oh, I guess technically the Tokyo Jungle game, you play as a bunch of
Hey,
animals.
I've got it. So here it is. It's the next Mass Effect game. It takes place in the Milky Way. It's been an unknown number of years. You're a new alien civilization. You've just discovered the relays. There are a number of other alien races. Something is weird about them because they're ascended or whatever. Depending on your Mass Effect 3 ending, doesn't matter. We'll just assume it's synthesis or something. And these are all weird races. None of them are from the first game. There's no humans. There's no other Mass Effect 1 races. And it's the same thing all over again. There's no Citadel because we all know what happened with that. And that's your premise. And that's it. You just got ascended. You just
Or you
discovered
could
the
just
relays.
continue Mass Effect Andromeda, except set it 500 years in the future.
That's another option,
We
I guess.
settled Andromeda. Everything's cool. We've set up a civilization. Now what?
We set up a civilization, and we've somehow managed to completely overpopulate and resource drain every single planet in the galaxy. Whoops. I guess we are a virus among the stars.
By the way, Untitled Goose Game. You don't play as a human.
So, what did you guys think of the ending of the third game, though?
I like the first game a lot from start to finish. 2, I think is fine, and 3, I could do without.
Yeah, probably.
I think the trilogy's fun. I think as a whole, taken as a whole, I think it's pretty good. And I think the endings are pretty appropriate in Mass Effect 3, like at least the way they are now. It's a decent sci-fi story. It's a little Twilight Zone-y, but you know, what isn't?
Yeah, I think my favorite side quest was actually Tally's whole thing.
Yeah,
The
agreed.
synths in the third game. That one felt like it was its own game. That whole side story.
I mean, really, the thing you can take away from this is Tally's the coolest character in the games.
Tally, and
There's your fucking sequel, Tally Effect.
Nah, man, I don't know. What about Garrus?
Garrus
Yeah, he
is
was alright.
Garrus is cool.
I think Garrus was my favorite character.
Garrus is your classic Worf. You know, it's like it is most dishonorable.
Well, when you put it that way,
Oh yeah, do you want to talk about how Picard just stole the Mass Effect mythos and scenes? Corey, you and I saw that episode of the flashbacks where all of them touched the artifact and literally it was Mass Effect.
clearly it was an inspirational series and nothing else, even though it did cyclically borrow.
Inspiration. Yeah, just the way Vanilla Ice was inspired
Yeah.
by Under Pressure. See, theirs goes dun 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 dun. Dun. Mine goes dun 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 dun. Dun.
So yeah, that's Mass Effect 10 years later. I still think it was a fun series.
Yeah,
It's got good storytelling.
I like it. I do like the trilogy. I would play Andromeda for free, you know, if it was offered to me, but I'm not going to.
How patched is it? Like, that's my question.
I'm sure it's fine by now.
Probably as patched as it's going to get.
This is the least broken it shall be. Enjoy.
If I play Andromeda, I'm probably going to play it on PC, and I'm going to play it with whatever community patch is out to fix the remaining problems that we know weren't fixed.
Bold of you to think there's a community around that game.
You know, my finding, being a PC gamer for as long as I have, is even the most obscure, shitty games have at least a community of 20 to 100 people.
That's true.
You'd be surprised.
People are stupid. You're right.
And you say that, but these are usually the same people that'll write their own game patch to fix all the problems. So yeah, a couple dozen people managed to fix a broken game.
You can,
2 years of turmoil.
you can understand code and math and still be an idiot. Ben Carson was a surgeon.
I got nothing on that.
Yeah, people can be really good at something and still
I
be
was so
an idiot.
surprised when I saw that on his wiki page. Like, what?
People,
Surgeon?
people can be incredibly good at something.
How
and
could you be so
still
smart?
And still be an idiot.
But not.
Oh no, it still makes them an idiot.
So play Mass Effect.
So that's
and
Mass Effect.
Read a book.
Yeah, no, play it still. I think it still holds up, man. If I
Yeah,
Mass
go
Effect
read the
2
Mass Effect books that Brian recommended because they're the
Hey, I'll put
Star
it this
Wars
way,
writer,
man.
right?
Yep.
We're supposed to be
Bender.
staying aside. Why not? Just read the books and play the games.
That's true.
Guaranteed, it's going to take you a month if you decide to go and read the books and do all the side stories.
I am actually kind of curious about the books. I'd be interested to read the.
They're really-
There's 3 of them.
They're good. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
read
the
them.
first one
might
specifically,
give
I
those a
never
read.
read. The last book might take place after or during the third.
But they're all him, right? They're
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'd be curious to pick those up. Those would be fun.
I would say if you're interested, check out his Darth Bane books as well.
So the books are Mass Effect Revelation, Ascension, Retribution, and Deception.
One of those is not written by him. I can't remember which one.
The fourth one. So Mass Effect Deception wasn't written by...
Okay. So the first 3 are him. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'd check
So
this
Revelation,
out.
Ascension, and Retribution. And, I mean, hey, let's be honest. You got nothing better to do. Just go ahead and read Deception 2. Why
That's
not?
true. Hey, Steve, you gonna read the Mass Effect books?
I might actually.
I was really hoping.
Like he said, I have got nothing better.
You can
was
get
really
you can
hoping-
get all 4 of them in a bundle on Amazon Kindle for $24.99.
I was hoping
That's
so much
probably
that
what I'll
Steve,
do.
you were gonna
That's
be like,
still
you were
more
gonna be
money
like,
than I want
no.
to pay for those books.
I got them both.
Yeah, no.
Or I got the first 2 back when they came out. Maybe I'll pick up the third.
Wow. Well, who's cool now?
Anyway, I've been Brian.
I've been Corey.
Steve.
I've been Steve.
Steve, say your name
I just did.
without whispering.
I've been Steve.
I was gonna do a whole Boss Nass impression. It was gonna be great, but you know what, Steve? Fuck you.
You're welcome.
Oh, you said a bongo. I've been Dave. Fuck you. You know what? It's not even worth it. Not even worth it. Play the first Mass Effect
Ruined
games. I hate everyone.
You've been listening to Cattywampus. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr at CattyWampusPod. Email us at cattywampuspodcast@gmail.com. Music by Tilly.